For the latest on how law enforcement is working to track down the shooter, I'm joined now by former NYPD Chief of Detectives Robert Boyce and retired FBI Special Agent and profiler Mary Ellen O'Toole. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for joining us. And let me start with you, Robert. It really has been remarkable watching this investigation unfold. Give us a sense of how they're doing this. They have all those cameras. This is kind of reminiscent of going after the Boston bomber in 2013.
Good morning, Martha. It really is. It's a fascinating case, and it's bifurcated. So right now you're in Central Park trying to find that evidence that he left there. You see, we found the backpack last night, some surprises with that, and he leaves, and he only has 12 minutes in the park. So you got to figure where he went on that bicycle and what happened to that weapon. You really want to recover that weapon. He goes up the west side of the park, and there's a lake right there. So they were dragging the lake last night looking for a possible to recover that. When they get that weapon, you'll be able to help identify the perpetrator at some point, and also put to bed all those things, what it might be. So it's important. The second part of this investigation is the apprehension, identification, apprehension. Now, he left the city about 45 minutes after he committed this crime. That's really quick. We have him on a bus. We think we have him on a bus out of Upper Manhattan. If he takes it to any different spot and gets on another bus, that has to be tracked as well. But right now, the NYPD is looking at Atlanta, Georgia. So they have a base of operations there. Detectives went down there last night to forward information back from people they speak with, because that's about the number of tips they're getting is larger than anywhere else. Those tips coming out of Atlanta, Georgia.
But how much more difficult is it now that he has left New York City and it is a nationwide search?
It complicates things, there's no doubt. But the NYPD, listen, he did this in Manhattan. We have the largest police department in the country, second largest in the world. So we have a lot of resources and a lot of partners. So it complicates it, but it doesn't make it impossible. I've sent detectives all over the world at some point, especially in the United States. You send someone down there, you create a base, and you go back and forth, and you work with any police department in the country. So it complicates this, but it's not over. You can quickly overcome it with the right resources.
And Mary Ellen, you were an FBI profiler. When you look at this case, when you look at him, when you look at those videos and what they've found, in that backpack, they found Monopoly money. I mean, what does this all tell you about this suspect?
When I look at the suspect and I look at his behavior from beginning to what we think is when he left New York City, there's a quality to it that suggests there's a little bit of practice there and there's almost a lack of experience. And those two things are very different. So what I mean by that is, it looks like he practiced things. He probably had been to New York before and knew what the route was. He knew where the victim was going to be. He knew what his schedule was going to be. So that would come with knowledge. But the experience means, is he an experienced assassin? And I would disagree with that. So practice versus experience. There's almost
what about that Monopoly money?
There's almost a game-like quality to this behavior. So, for example, the way that he's caught on a number of video cameras, and I know with the ballistics, there were some interesting behaviors there as well. So that may come from the idea that the way he got practice is how? Video games, TV shows.
That's a very interesting point. But those shell casings that said deny, defend, depose, can certainly offer some clues, perhaps to motive.
They could, and the motive would be very specific then, because then it would go to issues relative to the health and that system and being denied, that sort of thing. However, when you have a game player who's your offender, you have to be open that that is a ruse to cause law enforcement to look in a different direction. And I'm sure they're aware of that. They are great investigators up there. So they're looking at the possibility it has to do with the medical field, but they're also considering the possibility maybe this offender wants us to look in a different direction.
And Robert, I want to ask you, do you think the FBI at this point knows more than they are telling us? And are you surprised that there is no name yet, given those pretty clear pictures of his face?
No, I'm not surprised. And we don't know that, to be honest with you, Martha, that he's not identified. I would, in my time, it's 35 years in the police department, we don't give out the name once we get it until we make an apprehension effort. Once that fails, then you give out the name. So right now, we really don't know. And it would be surprising. But that image is pretty good. And we have another one that came in from a cab where you have a partial. So things are mounting up right now. So that's putting that out there, engaging the public through media, through social media, and through law enforcement partners. That's how this gets done. There's going to be a lot of phone calls on him.
Okay, we're so hopeful that they will catch him and catch him soon. Thanks to both of you.